Hi, I'm Henriques with the National Personal Training Institute and Mythos Publishing. In today's video, we want to continue on our first theme, which is the basics of building strength, but now we're on part 2, which is exercise selection. In the first video, we defined strength. We said that strength, if we go with a more complex definition, is the ability to execute a motor pattern against maximal resistance. Right? That motor pattern is crucial, and we're going as heavy as we can. We're trying to see what our ability to do that is. If we're interested in improving strength, our exercise selection becomes hugely important, because you can develop your strength in one area, but as we already learned, strength is specific, so developing strength in that area may not necessarily help out another area. So here we're going to have a hierarchy of exercises that we can choose from. This is probably going to be reasonably common sense for those of you that like to lift weights, but we're going to be able to validate exactly why it is. And our hierarchy is the exercises that are the best are going to be barbells to start out with. This isn't for every single person in every single situation, but certainly for the vast majority of people that simply want to get stronger, barbells is going to be your go-to. It's no coincidence that barbells are used to test strength in both powerlifting and Olympic weightlifting, and primarily in strongman activities, at least something similar to that. Okay? So that's going to be the key. So you're going to try to build your strength in your big classic barbell lifts. Dumbbells are a relatively close second. Dumbbells don't allow you to go as heavy, right? When you take your two dumbbells and you put them together, it does not equal your bench press weight. That's a negative when it comes to building strength, because we need to get used to lifting as much weight as possible. Doesn't mean it doesn't have other benefits, but in terms of hierarchy, barbells are going to be ideal, again, for most people, barring injuries, things like that. Bodyweight exercises can be great as well. The big problem there is, how do you load them up? So once you get reasonably proficient at push-ups, how do you make a push-up equal to a 400-pound bench press? That's extremely difficult to figure out. So there are certainly some versions that we can do, and so some bodyweight exercises are pretty awesome, and for some goals they can be really great. But again, if we're trying to build that max strength executed against a maximal resistance, barbells are going to trump bodyweight most of the time. And then cables are starting to become less desirable because there's too much element of control from the cable. Again, being able to load it up is also a little bit of a challenge in certain activities. And then machines lack that three-dimensional space. There's too much control, there's too much stability. They don't improve that neural pattern. And so what we're looking for there, as we come down, is the transfer of skill. This is something I like to talk about a lot in my classes. What this means is, when you have one exercise, how does that then help you do another exercise? That's the transfer of skill. And so let's take two examples. Let's take a squat and a leg press. Imagine you have somebody who only squats for 6 months. They squat hard, they squat heavy, they're working at it a couple times a week, and they squat for 6 months, and then they go over and try a leg press. How are they going to do? On their very first day, they're going to be pretty damn good at the leg press. And with just a few sets to kind of practice and feel, they'll be very proficient at the leg press. But let's reverse it. Now let's take someone who only does leg presses. Okay, leg presses, of course, are much lower skill than squats. So they just do leg presses. They work hard, right? They're going to build their muscles. Their legs are going to be stronger. And certainly they'll be able to squat more than someone who's never, ever done any training at all. But if that person just leg presses for 6 months, and then they walk over to a free weight barbell squat, and then attempt to really load that up, they have not improved that motor pattern. So they have these big muscles, but they don't know how to use them in that system. And so they're going to be very disappointed with the results. It's going to take months of training to transfer the skill of the leg press into the squat. Okay, now in that example, we were just using one or the other. Of course, in real life, it doesn't always work that way, but it's nice to kind of highlight some differences. So you can use low skill movements as long as they're used in conjunction with high skill movements. But this is why barbells trump essentially everything else in the gym. Because when you get good at barbells, you're also good at dumbbells, you're also pretty good at body weight, you're also pretty good at cables, you're also pretty good at machines. But if all you do is get good at cables and machines, and then you want to go try using barbells and dumbbells and some challenging bodyweight versions, you're going to be very disappointed about how you perform. So high skill will improve low skill, but it doesn't flow uphill. Getting good at low skill does not improve high skill. Okay? If you're going to do low skill stuff, you have to do it at the same time. So I have to squat and leg press and hope that some of the benefits from the leg press continue to carry over. Now, I absolutely love lifting weights, right? Obviously, I wrote an entire book about powerlifting, but I am aware that lifting weights is not the highest skill activity that one can do. Okay? Things like gymnastics and things like that are even higher skill. So it's foolish for me to think, well, I like lifting weights so I can run out and immediately play football. Okay, that doesn't work that way either. So there is a specific motor pattern for that. But when it comes to stuff that we do in the gym, which we are then doing to try to improve other things, it certainly makes the most sense that if I do a barbell lift, a barbell bench press helps every upper body exercise there is, whether it's dumbbells, machines, chest press, what have you. Okay, it makes sense if that transfers to all that. It's more likely to transfer out to something in the field than just that chest press machine, which might build my pecs a little bit, improve a little bit of strength, but is going to do very little to help those other exercises. So that's particularly important if you're an athlete, but even if you're a hardcore powerlifter, you don't want to be wasting your time and your energy and your resources doing something that's ultimately going to help that lift very little. So the bottom line is exercise selection is hugely important. You really need to sit down and think about the exercises that are important to you. You can't go wrong with squats, bench, deads, military press, some sort of row or pull-up in your program to kind of hit all the big stuff and then fill in the extraneous stuff as you see fit. If you need more information, feel free to check out my book, NPTI's Fundamentals of Fitness and Personal Training. It tells you everything you need to know about the body and how it responds to exercise. And if you just want to get beastly strong and master everything with a barbell, check out All About Powerlifting. Both of those are available in hard copy and ebook.